Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're going to be taking a first look at a game which is coming out on March 21st, that being tomorrow, developed by a company called Polyslash and published by Bader? I don't know how you pronounce that. This game is called We the Revolution, and it is a strategy game that puts you in the shoes of a French judge during the French Revolution in the late 1700s. The premise essentially is you're a justice, and you have to hear various trials, some of them being related to the revolution itself and some being unrelated, and you have to weigh in and essentially give justice. But the overarching challenge is that there is politics involved. This is the French Revolution, so those of you who are familiar with it know that it devolved into chaos and murder, with tens of thousands of people, by some estimates, being rounded up, imprisoned, and many being executed via the guillotine. The French king would end up being killed via the guillotine. The French queen would end up being killed as well. And this inaugurated a series of vast unrest in Paris, very much specifically, but there were many other hot spots throughout France that saw a substantial amount of chaos. All of this resulting in a series of governments eventually leading to the rise of Napoleon. This actually began a series of wars in France. Before Napoleon even rose to power, France was at war with the various European countries that were attempting to reinstitute the monarchy and put down the revolution. And so this is the beginning of a transformative period in both European history, which would see the rise of German nationalism by the end of it, and also the rise of France as really the preeminent military power in Europe for some 20 years or so. It would also see the beginning of Prussia's rise, which sort of coincides with the rise of German nationalism, and the British Empire really comes into its own right and sees the Industrial Revolution begin to take off in some small-scale senses as it begins to fund and fight the various wars, either by proxy or directly against the French, first the French Republic and eventually the French Empire. All of that is largely outside the scope of this game, where our basically responsibilities involve being a lowly little judge. So let's go ahead and create our profile, and let's get the game started. Northfield, you can hardly understate the effect of the Vendée. I don't know. I'm not a huge French Revolution expert. I know a bit about it. I listened to a great courses once.
Father. I am here. Do you hear me? I gave you the best I could. Why did you disown me? I have your blood in my veins. How could you? Do I mean nothing to you? Why did you grieve for him? He was nothing. I am better than he was. People will follow in my footsteps. Father.
So I cheated a little bit and watched this as I was setting up some of the settings, and I was told that little intro gave me chills the first time I listened to it. I think it was really well done. You can see here it's kind of giving this intro of France and chaos, and now you're getting a France in the 18th century, and then we're going to be kicking it off to a prologue here. So what are we going to see here? Just introducing my character. Okay. What the hell? He's using the flag of the Republic as a Vomit sponge or something. Are they drunk? Raymond Devoe. Remind me next time that I want to stop drinking this cloudy rotocut. Remind me before I drink it. We're disgracing Thames. Is someone coming? Okay. This was bound to happen. What? I told you. Papa. You said we would go. You promised. Okay, so these appear to be my family. This is my wife. This is my son. And I didn't catch if... I'm assuming this is my older son, maybe? I'm not sure who this guy is. Had a lot of work. Heavy glasses. You promised me I can't anymore. I'm fed up with asking. What's she angry about? Today your favorite son wanted to prove he was more honorable than his father, so he started a fight. Ooh, a 5-year-old boy, for God's sake. Our neighbors wanted you to explain that to them, but, well, you were fighting for justice at an inn. Damn you bloody drunk. Well, I'm drinking wine, so that seems appropriate. Documents and letters. Okay. So the game is going to have various events that we have to react or ignore to, which come over here in the form of this letter. We're going to get documents which come up in the middle of our trial here. I believe our journal, which sort of tracks the process of trials, is over here. Our notebook, review detailed information about the current events. And the verdict, where we actually make our rulings. So this is our justice stand here in front of you. Settings. Okay, so this game's going to give me a little bit of information. There's some hierarchy in France's power struggle and various intrigues and conflicts between other people. Influence points in the top right, notifications, and global modifiers. Some of our decisions will change in the world. The game may cause global modifiers to come into action. These factors affect relationship, reputation, and influence. Okay. So, again, this is our justice stand. We can see here if we go to news. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Your addictions are no longer a secret. The fact that our children are bullying your son because... what? The fact that our children are bullying your son because of them is a minor problem. But who is spreading these rumors? It's likely to be one of their parents. They could have whispered into their children's ears whom they shouldn't play and why. They might even have spiced the story up a little bit. Okay. Intimidate the parents, which hurts our reputation or influence. Let's talk eye to eye. Influence points -1, or ignore. I guess we can talk to the parents. That's a weird expression, though. So then there's no more news here. We've already decided to do that. If we go to our notebook here, you can see you get relations with the various factions in Paris. Our reputation is monitored over here. Influence points are down at the bottom, global modifiers, and then our sentences, keeping track of sort of the record of the game. There's additional information such as events, which is this whole neighborhood of gossip event, which we already sort of showed, the fact that we're kind of an alcoholic. And then we can get information about various different people. So our wife, Mathilda, is that how you pronounce it? Fidel. Our son, Bernard Fidel, Friedrich Fidel, Aldrich Fidel, this is our father. And then Raymond Devoe, who was our mentor. Okay, so that's the older guy that we were drinking with. There's a case file. So to Judge Alex Fidel, we do not expect this kind of behavior from your son, although apparently we should have. Innocent children's play turned into an assault on our children. Our youngest, Anthony, now has chipped front tooth. We hope that you will punish your child accordingly. Should the situation repeat itself, we will react more decisively. I'm sure we can deal with a gambler and drunkard, even if he's a judge. We will not let our children be hurt. So obviously this is the tutorial. It's just giving us some basic information on how trials kind of unfold. So when you get those different icons in your case file, you can uncover different line of questioning. And the line of questioning comes up when you read through the case files. You'll get different lines of questioning, which are these icons here around child's play or possibility of reporting. You're given a certain number of chances for your questions that you can ask and get incorrect before you are unable to ask further questions. Traps represent lines of irrelevant questioning that will kind of count against you or could count as an incorrect line of questioning. So for example, in this case here, if we click on like possibility of repeating or child play or any of these different icons here, it will give us an option to choose, what the relevance of that evidence or that item from the case document is. So, for example, if we look at the child's play, we have course of events, extenuating circumstances, or victim. Or if we look at the possibility of repeating, it's a course of events, extenuating circumstances, or victim. So when we do course of events for possibility of repeating, and we get caught in a trap, which counts as one of our 2 possible mistakes. When we go with child's play, we can choose course of events, and that gives us, we got a correct answer there, so a question was discovered that we can ask our child. When we get fighting children, we have one more incorrect question we can get. We can say, is it an extenuating circumstance, course of events? We chose extenuating circumstances. We were wrong, so that sort of grays that out, meaning we can't ask that question again. And then it gave us the other 2, victim or course of events, which we could ask. You can see here in injured children, either victim or course of events are both lit up. We can choose one of the 2. We chose victim, and that was the correct answer. So we still have one question left to answer or find, and we discovered it. Chiptooth and victim are tied, and now we get a chance to go in and ask questions of the accused based off of the questions that we discovered. So if we had run out of attempts, if we had gotten too many incorrect questions, then we may not have been able to uncover all the different questions for the defendant, which might result in us not being able to get all the information we need to be able to make a good evaluation of the trial. And now you can see here we're given this list of questions, which we can kind of go down these list of questions and start asking the accused questions and learn a little bit more about the case in terms of who's guilty, who's not, or what have you. The one thing I will call out is this is the tutorial. So normally in the game, each question will have sort of an influence on the jury, which will influence whether the jury thinks you should acquit someone or you should convict them of a crime. Additionally, when the populace gets involved, they'll have an opinion on what the results of the trial should be as well. So this is a very bare bones look at the game at the moment from a line of questioning perspective. And as we go through the game in a little bit more detail, we'll get a little bit more information or a little bit additional features will unlock as we move through the game a little bit further. Okay. So that was the case file. We unlocked all these different questions already. So I guess we just go to the verdict now, and we can either say guilty or not guilty. Make the most important decision, condemn the defendant, or deem them not guilty, and then sign the document. Okay, so in this case, there's no impact on the jury. There's no impact on the revolutionaries. Again, this is just giving you the mechanics of how you actually run a trial. So I guess it seems like my son is guilty. And, okay, so don't start fights, son. You're guilty. That was an interesting way to start. Those children are so small, they already know the truth. The father of my child is a lying drunk, a gambler. Bernard used to worship you, but he soon grew up. Now it's Friedrich's turn to learn the truth that echoes in the streets. Wow, my wife is not a fan of me, apparently. He's no longer fearing your anger. He knows that your threats are empty. Friedrich is only starting to learn the truth about his father from the streets. I was unaware that Mathilda had such temper. That was high. Wow. Okay. Silent, I don't stream terribly often. It's been a while since I've streamed. And I do mostly strategy and other types of games like that, not so much like what Lefty does.
Liberté! We were enchanted by the idea of freedom. We could not resist it. Whole families took to the streets. France
Oh, God.
was never so happy.
France was never so happy. The irony with a guy with a noose around his neck.
We were enchanted by the idea of freedom.
And murder. I think it's the same time period, although I haven't really played any of the Assassin's Creed games. Silent. This is, I would say, more in line with something like Papers, Please, which you're a judge in sort of a dystopian, quasi-Cold War type game. Or not a judge, you're a border guard. All right. One other thing that the game is introducing here is the expected sentence, which shows up on the top. And there's different political factions that will expect different sentences based on the trial. So you can see here we have a new individual here in front of us. The expected sentences, either acquittal or prison. The common folk and the family expect prison. The revolutionaries would expect acquittal. The jury over here has not told us what they would like yet, or what their verdict is. And over here on the right is the prosecutor, presumably. Now, in addition to this, the game did kind of call out that you can see the hierarchy in France up here. So this is kind of like, what was the game called? There was was it Middle Earth? Shadow of Middle Earth or something like that, where there was like a system where you kind of try and work your way up the top and eliminate your rivals. We're down here on the political spectrum. Robespierre is up here, who was the French dictator and leader of France during the Terror before he was killed himself. And so presumably the objective of the game is for us to move all the way up here and maybe take over France. We don't know who any of our political rivals are or who anybody else is between us and there yet. Now, if we click on the actual defendant, we can get his name. So he's going to say, my name is Danu, fresh fish since 1772. So is that his company? And a vandal since yesterday? I'm not proud of what I did, but enough is enough. Really? Like when 6 months ago you stole 8 francs from my revenue? Some urchin took that from your pockets while you were... Silence, you shall not speak until questioned. Okay, so it's going to give us the information about the jury over here. Is there any news? Neighborhood gossip, the exchange of pleasantries did not take long. Most people stopped being brave the moment they faced the danger. This time the danger could be described as the judge of the Revolutionary Tribunal and a 1-meter-long bludgeon in the hands of a guard. Once the last words left your mouth, the man's gaze dropped to the ground. He did not even look at the weapon held by the guard, who was eager to hear just one word of objection. Okay, so apparently we intimidated the neighborhood into shutting up and stopped talking about me being drunk. And we got our reputation, or influence back, I guess. Meanwhile, notifications up here, reputation +2 because of our discussion. Our notebook, I don't think anything new here. No new global modifiers. Common folk, respect is medium. Revolutionaries is medium. Reputation 3. No sections taken over. There's sort of a take over Paris part of the game, which we haven't gotten to yet. Influence +3. And none of that's relevant yet. All right, so let's take a look. What's the protocol here? What's this? Reveal the trial's records. Okay, so we can commence the trial, but we're not going to do that quite yet. Let's take a look at the case file here. So this is compiled by Charles Etienne. And the accused is accused of assault. So one of the local merchants, Guy Danu, went to the National Guard station near the halls with a raised voice, and he stated that the owner of the neighborhood's stall had purposely poured wood tar into his barrel. Poured wood tar into his barrel of herrings. For this supposed crime, Danu demanded a proper punishment. Soldiers went to the halls and established that the herrings did indeed taste awful. Since there was no evidence of the crime, they did not take any action. A few hours later, the guards returned to the halls. This time it was formerly accused Jean Corbert, who called for them, and there was a plethora of evidence on site. The clearest being Danu himself, smashing his neighbor's stall with a long wooden pole in front of the witness. So it looks like it's giving us these question sort of modifiers. Before, you used to have to, like in the beta version, you had to hover over, click on it, and it would reveal a question. But it looks like they're all revealed here. The other thing is there's a second page. So I would like to report that the citizen Corbert does not pay the city for his stall. Furthermore, he openly criticizes the new rule when talking to his clients. Who said this? Who's this from? All right, let's see here. So there's 4 questions to reveal. We have these, 5 different items here to hover over. And essentially in the beta version, again, you'd click on one and you'd try and connect it to the other. But in the release version, it looks like we just have to click which one of these we think it's tied to. So the wood tar is tied to the instrument of the crime? I don't think so. No. Oh, it is. Okay, so it is the instrument of the crime because the wood tar was put on the herrings. Okay, so that unlocked a question. We now have 3 more questions to reveal, and apparently the wooden pole was ruled out. So the stall next to the entrance can either be counter-revolutionary, offender's personality, or crime scene. I think that's the crime scene. Yes, it is, based on, again, our reading of the case file. Old denunciation is either counter-revolutionary or offender's personality. That seems to be tied to the offender's personality, and it is. And then counter-revolutionary propaganda seems to be tied to, obviously, counter-revolutionary. So there, that was easy enough. It was just sort of logically putting different questions together. So now we have 4 questions that we can ask the defender here, and we can see what product does Citizen Corbet sell. It would appear your conflict has continued for some time now. We found your denunciation of Citizen Corbeau, and then Citizen Corbeau, come closer. But this is Denis. So I guess we can question the other citizen? And we know that each one of these questions influences the jury's decision or opinion based on what we ask. So if we ask what product does Citizen Corbet sell, it will influence the jury to want to execute him, I guess. If we found our denunciation of Citizen Corbet, then it makes them more likely to push for acquittal. Don't be a drunk chat room. Not healthy for the body and family. Okay. What does he sell? Fruit and vegetables. And you sell fish. Straight from your port and petits and delies. Okay, I see. Then why did one of you come to the halls and with wooden tar with the other with a wooden pole? Citizen? I don't remember. That stick must have been lying under the stall. He clearly planned his actions. Okay. So right now the jury is leaning toward acquittal. It would appear that your conflict has continued for some time now. It all started when that scoundrel placed a stall where mine should be, next to the entrance. It wasn't your place. You took it after all. Shit. Silence. All you've reached an agreement ever since. For a red mullet taken by his wife. My whole family fell ill because of that rotten carcass you shouldn't be happy about. Wait, this isn't the prosecutor. This is the accuser. All right, so these guys are arguing. The jury has now swung over to preferring prison. All right. So now if I go with, we found your denunciation of Citizen Corbet. Why did you write it? He did it because I started selling sprats. Shut up already, Monsieur le Judge. I wanted to help the city. Every staller pays for their place in the halls. Corbet should pay too. You're a liar and a crook. Don't you remember hiding from the royal collector at the butcher's? Silence. I was trying to avoid royal taxes. You only started after the beginning of the revolution. Oh boy. So now the jury's back to acquittal. So let's go ahead and ask Citizen Corbet to come closer. Do you really dispute the new order? I guess we should ask him if he's counter-revolutionary. Made up by a man who trades of old Flanders. Is that a no? Of course it is. I am a merchant, not a politician. Why would you have wood tar with you that day? I sell fruit, but my suppliers sometimes buy wood tar because it repels pests. And why did you pour it in the citizen's barrel? Did nothing of the sort. He probably poured it in himself so that he could denounce me again. Liar. Calm down. Okay, so the jury is pretty strongly in favor of prison. You can see this counter going up toward prison. Nobody's yet ready for execution. I don't even think that's an option in this trial. You can see that my family and the common folk want this man arrested. The revolutionaries would prefer acquittal. Now, obviously, if I piss off the revolutionaries, that could lead me to be strung up with a rope and killed. But same for the common folk, right? I guess the common folks aren't all revolutionaries. So let's go over here to the verdict form, and you can see we can choose either verdict of prison or acquittal. If we go with prison, then you can see here the influence on the common folk is a strong reaction to the right, which is a moves toward a reputation bonus and increases my relation with them. You can see the revolutionaries get a little bit less happy. This orange represents my reputation with the revolutionaries dropping, while the blue represents my reputation with the common folk increasing. So if we go to acquittal, you'd sort of see a swing the other way. I'm going to go with prison mainly because my family wants me to imprison them, and I'd like to make my family happy. Also, it will really make me have a really strong relationship here with the common folk, and we can always repair the relationship with the revolutionaries if we just decide to start killing people, I think. So we'll go with prison, and we'll go ahead and sign this, and we'll see how things move forward. Okay. It seems that the Parisians will have to start buying fish elsewhere, Citizen Denis. I sentence you to prison for vandalism. Better warn the guards, they won't have an easy life. I do not believe the people will be happy with such a severe penalty. Well, the jury just said they wanted prison, too. Oh, that's my mentor. Never mind. So all 4 questions unlocked. Influence on the jury is sort of neutral, I guess. And there you go. Moving on. So after the trial, you go ahead and click the button down here to move next. Revolutionaries' impact was -4, and the common folk impact was +6. And it looks like our reputation stays at 3, but you can see here we're at a high reputation with common folk and a medium reputation with the revolutionaries. So go ahead and hit next, and we'll see what comes up next here. We're still on Act 1, Day 1 of the game. That was no travesty of Justice Newhouser. Charcoal, I don't care if you think he was innocent. May I remind you that you have promised to join me. I have a feeling that tonight's moon favors gamblers. Jacques Louis David. Okay. Though it does not favor spouses. God should grace us with wives who understand the importance of an evening game of dice. They should also know that the right amount of wine guarantees a lucky roll. Okay, so apparently this person is not terribly concerned with my wife not being thrilled with me gambling and playing, being an alcoholic. I should go home. Bring a judge to the game as benefits. Other players will surely not cheat. That's not a strong argument. I am but a humble painter, not a silver-tongued judge. You're a sly politician, Jacques. As a politician, I understand the importance of keeping promises, and you, my friend, are trying to get out of yours. Oh, but I can't make my family upset. Not tonight, Jacques. I hope I didn't just make a political enemy in the cutthroat world that is Paris. We can't repair relationships with the revolutionaries just by kissing people. That is a good quote, Silent. So these guys are having fun gambling, and I'm over here with my family eating a quiet meal. But my wife looks happy. Maybe? I don't know. Those pictures are kind of creepy in any event. It's hard to tell. Late evening, the judge's house. Oh boy, what's going to happen? Let me take a swig of wine. Do you not want to berate me like you always do? I'm glad you're home. Are you aware that Friedrich sometimes imagines you as a deep-sea sailor? He dreams that you visit distant countries and have wonderful adventures. Okay. But he would rather have you by his side on land. We all want that. I don't want to watch the storm blow your lifeboat away and bury it beneath the waves. There are no waves. Okay. The storm is getting closer. Dark clouds already hang over the shore. I just wait until they finish building the guillotine. Your oars will break at once, and the waves will take you to a place you'll wish you'd never set foot on. A place without us. Whoa! Your family loves you, but we won't find you in the darkness that has already begun to reach for you. Okay. Relations with the family. You have to choose an action to see its description. Family actions. Upon returning home, you can decide how you would like to spend the rest of the day. Various actions. Each action will affect the other member of the family as well as their attitude toward you. Character attributes. Each character's attitude can provide you with or deprive you of certain bonuses, example, reputation, or relations with factions. Your youngest son is special. His attitude makes the other family members like you slightly more. Take good care of him. Interesting. So, our youngest son is the most important, apparently, and I have to choose an action to see its description. So, for example, if we go to opening night at the theater, there's a new play coming tonight, a comedy. It's a good chance to take a breather from reality. I don't see... So it looks like the theater... Does it show me whether it's positive or not? I guess I'm assuming whoever is highlighted, it's influencing in a positive way. So if we go to a political debate, it's time for grown men to talk about the revolutionary achievements. It should be an interesting exchange. That makes Aldrich Fidel happier, or father. A demonstration appears to make... Take your sons to a pro-revolution demonstration. Let them see real life up close. And evening gambling. You should spend some time with your father every now and then and show him your world. Perhaps he'll get a taste for it. Doesn't seem to show him being positively influenced. I'm not really totally clear. This is not super clear to me. Demonstration makes everybody happier? Okay. Oh no, apparently it does not. It makes my father less happy. It makes my older son happier. Makes my wife less happy. And it makes my younger son much happier. Okay, so I don't actually see the influence until after I select the action. That's interesting. All right, guys, that's going to do it here for our first look at We, the Revolution, a new game out which puts you in the shoes of a French judge during the French Revolution. A strategy game, which is coming out today, is available now on Steam. There's a link in the description if that's something you're interested in checking out. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this video, if you'd like to see more of this. We did do a look at a sneak peek version of the game, which was in beta form, but this is a brand new start to this series, frankly, because the game's changed a fair amount since the beta or the version that I got access to. So I figured we'd just start the story from scratch, because the story has a different starting place than our first couple of videos on it. So this is very much a first look video. I've really enjoyed my time with it so far. I streamed this about 2 hours last night, and we'll continue to kind of cover this over the next few days, and maybe a little bit further if this is something you guys are interested in. But overall, my impressions have been really positive. I think the set pieces are brilliantly done. I think the music is phenomenal. I think the voice acting and all of the art around this game really convey a sense of passion for the project, but also a sense of just care and general well-crafted pieces that really bring a little bit of an emotional response out of you, I think. I'm not sure how the game mechanics will function long-term. I could see some of them getting a little bit repetitive, perhaps, but the writing to the story, I think, will be key on whether it holds your interest. And so far, I've enjoyed almost everything about this game. So we'll see a little bit more about it tomorrow, and we'll kind of see how we stagger the coverage going forward. But as always, guys, please feel free to leave your comments below. Let me know your thoughts. And what do you like? What don't you like? Until next time, however, guys, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching. And once again, I'm out.